Hello everyone, now let's learn how to make the cupcake coaster together. First, start with the preparation work. Start by making the threader. Pinch the ends of the fishing line. Take out the tape and stick the line ends. You will need to prepare the tape yourself. Once this is done, it will be used as the threader. Using tape makes handling easier, but if you don't have tape, it won't affect threading. Next, let's learn how to thread. Pinch the folded part of the threader. Then insert the threader through the small hole at the needle tip. Pay close attention, you must thread through the small hole here. Be sure not to thread directly through the large hole. If you thread in this way, the yarn will not stay on the embroidery fabric during punching. Re-thread through the small hole, then continue pushing forward into the large hole until it comes out from the other end. Then thread the yarn into the loop. Pull the threader to draw out the yarn. Leave a yarn end about 1 inch long, approximately 2.5 centimeters. Threading complete. Take out the embroidery hoop and loosen the screw on the top of the hoop. Remove the inner hoop. Then take out the embroidery fabric with the printed pattern, facing the pattern side towards yourself. Place it on the inner hoop. Try to position the pattern properly and position it at the center of the inner hoop. After adjusting, fit on the outer hoop. If the pattern is slightly off-center, you can adjust it by pulling with your fingertips like this. Once adjusted, tighten the screw at the top while simultaneously tightening the embroidery fabric. Press the fabric surface and check for any obvious indentations. If the surface does not feel taut and springy, it means the embroidery fabric is not tight enough. Please continue tightening the embroidery fabric. Press the fabric surface again to check if it is tight. If the fabric surface is not easily indented and feels taut, it means it has been properly tightened. Continue tightening the screw at the top to prevent the fabric from loosening during punching. This is the effect after tightening the embroidery fabric. Take out the punch needle and adjust the length of the needle head. Take a pipe cleaner. Note, the color of the pipe cleaner in the material kit is shipped randomly. The video is for demonstration purpose only. Place the pipe cleaner on the needle head. Bend the front end inward. Continue wrapping the remaining pipe cleaner around the needle head. Then press down firmly to make the pipe cleaner more compact. Measure the remaining length of the needle head, leaving to 0.5 cm of length. That is 1 inch. Cut off the excess pipe cleaner. Take out the instruction manual for the corresponding style. The picture shows the finished effect. Please refer to the manual often during the making process. This indicates the yarn color number. The text below corresponds to the stitching technique. The tools are marked below. Let's start punching this area. Find the matching yarn color and the stitching technique used. Here, the flat stitch technique is applied. The tool used is a punch needle. Take out the yarn of the corresponding color. Find the yarn end. Set aside enough loose yarn in advance for easy punching. Following the method shown in the video, first thread the yarn into the punch needle yourself. This is how it looks after threading. Here, color number 3 yarn is used. The stitching technique used is the flat stitch technique. Hold the embroidery hoop, keeping it a short distance above the table to make needle entry easier. Find a starting point along the edge line of the area to be punched in to insert the needle. Position the needle's bevel facing forward, and fully insert the needle head into the fabric surface. The needle head is fully inserted into the fabric surface. Flip the embroidery hoop to the backside, then pull out the yarn tail. Pull the yarn to shorten the yarn tail. Then, gently pull the needle out from the fabric surface. Position the needle's bevel facing forward, with the needle tip close to the fabric surface as you move forward. Punch the next stitch at intervals of 2 to 3 holes. The bevel of the punch needle should face the direction of movement, with the needle tip closely following the fabric surface as you proceed. Do not lift the punch needle too high, as this will cause the yarn segment to protrude on the fabric surface. This will cause the yarn segment to stick out. First, go back to the previous step. Gently slide the needle tip of the punch needle to restore any enlarged holes on the fabric surface to their original state. Pull the yarn at this end of the punch needle to tighten the yarn. Continue punching forward. Always remember the bevel of the needle tip must face the direction of movement. In areas where the line curves sharply, the punching yarn segments can be shorter. Keep the yarn segments at an even length. If the result is unsatisfactory, lift the needle, pull out the yarn and re-punch. First, use the needle tip to restore any enlarged holes on the fabric surface. Tighten the excess yarn. Continue punching along the edge of the pattern. Punching requires care. Avoid placing your hand under the needle tip to prevent injury. After punching here, continue punching along the upper curve. If the yarn segment on the fabric surface slightly protrudes, flip the fabric to the back and pull the yarn tight. After completing the first round, insert each stitch of the second round at the midpoint of each yarn segment from the first round. Stagger the needle entries to create a fuller effect. Rotate the embroidery hoop to adjust it to a comfortable position. During punching, if the yarn feels tight, pull out some loose yarn and set it aside for later use. Flip to the back side and cut the yarn. Use a sharp tool to poke the yarn end downward. Then fill in the gaps in that area without changing the yarn. Slowly pull out the needle while pressing the yarn with your fingers. After finishing, move on to punching the next area. Take out the manual and first find the corresponding color number and stitching technique for that area. Using the punch needle tool again. First, take out the yarn of the corresponding color for these areas and thread it into the punch needle. Find a starting point at the edge for needle entry. Lengthen each yarn segment here a bit. Punching of this area is complete. Flip it to the back side and cut the yarn. Next, follow the same method to complete punching all areas of the same color. Punching of the 3 vertical lines is complete. Proceed to make the next area. First, thread the corresponding color yarn into the punch needle. Find a starting point at the edge of this area to begin punching. Continue punching the areas of the same color without changing the yarn. Next, punch this area. Thread the corresponding color of yarn into the needle. Take out the yarn for the background and thread it into the needle, then fill the background area. Find a starting point at the edge for needle entry and begin punching. Continue filling the remaining gaps. Poke down the raised yarn segments. Next, embroider the sugar grains on the cupcake. We start with color number 2 yarn. A tool used is a plastic sewing needle. Take a length of yarn in the corresponding color. Take out the plastic sewing needle. Thread the yarn through the needle eye. Tie a knot at the end. Embroider some sugar grains in this area as decorations, according to your personal preference. Embroider a yarn segment as a sugar grain decoration and continue embroidering in this way. Then take a length of blue yarn and continue embroidering sugar grains. You can decorate the sugar grain positions according to your personal preference. Take a length of white yarn and continue embroidery sugar grain decorations. After finishing, turn the fabric to the back and cut off the yarn tails. Trim all long yarn tails short. Take a length of green yarn. Bring out the needle from a slightly upper position of this red circle. After fixing the point, pull the plastic sewing needle through the back of the embroidery fabric. Then, after leaving a gap above, insert the needle. Tie a knot on the back to secure the yarn end and prevent it from coming loose. This is the finished result. Next, loosen the screw and remove the embroidery fabric. Lay the embroidery fabric flat. Next, cut off the excess fabric along the pressed marks on the fabric surface. Note that you should cut along the inner line. Then, keeping a certain distance, cut open the embroidery fabric, being careful not to cut the yarn. After cutting, apply hot melt glue. Fold the edges inward and stick them in place. Press to secure. If you don't have a hot melt glue gun, you can use a lighter to heat it. Next, I will demonstrate how to soften the hot melt glue stick by heating it with a lighter. Soften it until it becomes transparent. After softening, quickly apply it to the embroidery fabric, then press and fix it in place. Precautions when using a lighter. First, use the inner flame to heat. Soften until transparent, then it is ready to use. Using the outer flame to heat will cause the melted glue to turn black, which looks unattractive. To save time, I will continue demonstrating with a hot melt glue gun in the video. Apply a small amount of glue to the overlapping parts of the embroidery fabric and continue to stick and secure them. Pasting completed. Take out the felt fabric and place it on the back. Apply hot melt glue and attach the felt fabric to the back. Press firmly to ensure better adhesion. Continue checking if the edges are fully glued. If any edges are not glued, apply more glue. Then turn it over to the front side. Trim off the excess felt fabric along the edges. The cupcake coaster is now finished.